Hey, hello again. Wow, take a look at this. The geese are invading Kelowna, British Columbia. Yikes. Alright, well that'll be something to contend with. Here we are. We're on the ground. We are, of course, the Empress of Vancouver from the now defunct CP Air. And I was going to call this flight part one in a series titled Percocets and Turboprops because I was just in the mood to fly, I think, the mighty Saab for its soothing sounds. And of course, I'm heavily medicated because of my ongoing back difficulties, which are clearing up nicely, but there's only so much physical therapy you can do without needing a tablet or two to get you through the evening. So that's where things stand more or less right now. I'm actually only slightly medicated, and I'm certainly greatly improved, and I'm sore in all the right places, and I'm healing in all the right places, and so that's good. I'm not sure why this GPU is here because we asked for it to go away, and we're on APU power right now. But we're going to fly from this craggy and beautiful spot in the Rockies to another craggy and beautiful spot to the northeast, a place called Smithers, which I was not familiar with, but is right here. We're going to take off on the Notive 1 SID, loop around here, and this is mainly to clear all kinds of terrain here. As you can see, it launches us down through the river valley, so we can pick up a little bit of altitude here. We're going to be going off of runway 16, zipping around here, shooting up to flight level 320, and then going over one beautiful river valley after another until we end up right here. And even if no turboprops are involved in this one, this is going to be part of a series of flights, I think, that will take us down through some really, really beautiful British Columbian fjord bush kind of flying, which will probably involve the mighty Saab at some point, and might even involve some smaller planes for some bushier bush flying, and will ultimately, I think, take us down to Renton, Washington, the birthplace of the mighty 737 in the greater Seattle area. And from there, who knows? But the moment we are all over Canada and going to have a bit of a blast here. The weather in Smithers is yucky. Let's see. Overcast on top, broken below, scattered below that. Well, it can be done. There aren't many approaches in, and I think the best one to do is a GPS approach from the north. And we are surrounded by terrain up there, so it should be very, very fun. Let's see what the winds are doing. Okay, the winds are favorable to that approach. I gather those are the prevailing winds. So we have plugged in a route thusly, and let me walk you through it. So I'll go back to the beginning here. Alright, so here we are, and here is our Notive 1. By the way, you do this by jumping into plan mode right here in the inconveniently placed mode selector, which on the newer 737s is right here, which makes it a lot easier. But nonetheless, you then go to your legs page and step through it. Okay, so there we are. We spin ourselves around. We go to Enderby, which is the VOR right here, which I've got tuned up. It's 48 miles away. And then we get onto an airway, Castle Nap, and that is our beginning of our approach. Aludi and BIM, little jig here to keep us in the valley, as you'll see, and on through. I did this just as a testing run. I'm just going to go back to map mode in the Mighty Saab, and it was fun, except I was trying to use the new Garmin GTN navigator there, and it's not properly integrated with the Saab, so it didn't work very well. And I kind of wanted to use, I want to get away from the Garmin GNS because it's just so goddamn annoying. So I'm going to either work myself or with somebody, or wait until the leading edge people get it ready. But I would love to have it set up for the Saab. That would be most beautiful. Get that flight director on, captain's priority. Whichever switch you flip first, it becomes that person's priority. In other words, the autopilot is sending flight director signals off of one side or the other. So tell whose priority is by which lit up here. Alright, so we've got our V-speed set. We've got a medium weight. We are going to take off probably in heading select mode, set up runway heading here. And already got our weather plugged in, our altitude 2940. Be kind to our first officer and get hers set up. And that accurately reflects our airfield elevation. Kill that bug. Check our fuel. Let's see, what does our trim need to be for takeoff? It says 22 and 3.4. I don't think that's what our COG really is. Our COG really is 10.3 and 4.7, so let's just plug in 10.3. I don't know why that doesn't update automatically, but alright, it says 4.6, close enough. Almost unreadable. That's right about there. Okay, good to go. We'll push back nose right. Brakes are set. Call ground services. Okay. Push back nose right. We'll release the brakes. Check to see if we've got starting pressure, and we do. And we'll turn on the anti-collision lights, and we'll start number 2. Monitor our push here. And we'll wait for 20%. Okay, looking good. Here comes the fuel. have the door open so you can enjoy the good sound door and windows. Alright, looking good. Feeling good, Lewis. Alright, let's do a little overlapping start here. And hold our push right there. God, this is a good sounding airplane. I will say that much. Wow. Alright. Number 2 looks great. Brakes are set. Alright. That is looking good. Our engine bleeds on. Flip over our power. Kill our APUs. Switches to continuous. Turn off our AP bleed. Packs should be on auto here. Temps are alright. Window heats are on. Yaw damper is on. Engine temps and pressure all within limits. Vibration is nil. Oil quantity, all that fine. Oil pressure is fine. Set flaps 5. That is cool. Trim is set. Radios are set. As you can see, they're pointing to Enderby, and I've got the first officer set up with it on her compass rose, and I've got myself in magenta line. Give her legs and give me takeoff references, and the bugs are set. Good and double good, and I do believe it's time to go taxiing. We're going out. We're going to use runway 16. When I flew this on a little trial run here, I taxied to the wrong runway. Very embarrassing. Will not make that mistake twice. As we taxi southwest style here. Thing of beauty. A true thing of beauty. Just admire the handiwork of the folks at IXEG. It is a gorgeous airplane, and it sounds great, and it flies wonderfully. And apparently, it's just a couple weeks away from a 1.1 version, so there are a lot of improvements coming. A lot of things happening. Just enjoying the sound. good looking airport here. Not sure about all the planes, but looks good. This is Canadian Rockies Ultra HD mesh, but other than that, the scenery is stock. This is an airport with a piece of freeware. I just updated my computer. Not incredibly different, but I had it in this cute Case Labs case, little case called a bullet case, and it's an ATX board in a tiny case. And I thought it looked so cool, but there was no room, speaking of cool, for cooling. And so I couldn't clock it as high as I'd like. So I had it at 4.1, and already it was doing that. It was too hot in that case. So I stuck it in a big Fantex Evolve ATX case. It's not huge. It's pretty good looking for a PC case. They're all pretty shitty, truth be told. This one kind of looks like an old aluminum Mac Pro, but they pull it off pretty nicely. I only skinned 3 knuckles building it, so that's an improvement over most cases. And it is now big enough, the case, to hold a big old radiator. So I'm liquid cooled, and I've got the old 5820 in here, clocked up to 4.5 gigahertz. So it flies. We've got 32 gigs of RAM in, and we've got the new 1080 card in, which the one I got was from EVGA, which is very, very, very beautifully made. And the main factor wasn't the speed of the board, but the mere fact that it has 8 gigs of VRAM, so I could fly places like Rizvetsky's New York, and which usually gobbles up at least 7-point-something gigs, and not be limited by that. So that has proven to be a really nice investment. I almost did something stupid and bought the Pascal Titan X. Very tempted. It's got 12 gigs of VRAM, and it is faster, and I am running 4K, as you know. Got a lot of new viewers on the little X-Plane P3D comparison in the San Francisco area, and to all you, welcome. I enjoyed that comparison. I do understand the limitations, and a lot of you wrote in to point them out. And yes, if you get outside the San Francisco area, if you don't have some other scenery, you're in X-Plane default scenery, whereas you're still in NorCal, Orbix NorCal. Otherwise, let me see if I can take the full length of this runway. I hope I can. Yeah, I think I can. I want to slice the tails off of these Learjets. Well, I do, but, you know, responsibility comes first, of course. Oh, no, those aren't, that's, what is that? That's that Italian, weird-ass turboprop. All right, let's see. We're going to make it? Yeah, we'll make it. Let's give them a little scare. Scare the natives. All right, this could be a tight turn, actually, to the runway, but, oh, what the hell. So anyway, within the limitations of that, I thought it was a relatively close comparison. And you have to understand, I do like both platforms for what they can do. All right, this is going to be a little fascinating, I would say. Okay. We can do this. Sort of. There we go. No corner cutting for us. No siree. position here. Identify the runway and the heading. That is good. Switch to flight. Turn the strobes on. Burn those logo lights, baby. There we go. Taxi's off. Continuous. Done. We are not pressurizing because we have to rather reluctantly button up for the flight. Alright, for the moment we'll stay in heading select on the auto throttle. Okay. Auto brake set to RTO. We can turn our radar on and we can make sure we're squawking what we need to be squawking. It should be altitude and TARA, and we are. And that is all good, and we can pop up our terrain, and as you can see, it is, I guess the best way to put it would be, is it's fascinating. So, at any rate, what we'll do is we will bring our power up to there, wait for it to stabilize, and it does. Engage toga, and get ready to go fly. We'll match our ghost throttles here. Alright, 80 knots. Accelerating very nicely. And V1 and rotate. A little bit reticent there. I think I'm a little bit under trim. Yeah, I am. I'll trim up here. And we'll gear up here. There we go. Alright, now the trim settles in very, very nicely. Okay. And we will engage LNAV. Good. There's our acceleration altitude. Goes down slightly. And we will engage VNAV. Follow the cues and fly the plane. Start to clean up right about now. There's our turn. Accelerating nicely. Look at that. So it brings us out over the water and climbs us over there. Oh, very nice. I like this SID a lot. This is SkyMax, by the way, for the clouds, and Ventura Pro for the haze off the distance. And we're now fully clean and going up like a bat. And we should be turning towards Enderby right now. It's level. Anything you do with this airplane, power-wise, involves retrimming. Anything. Alright. Gear off. Sparks off. Autopilot in. Pressurization. Good. Not bad. Not bad at all. people have pointed out correctly that an X-plane only does 3 layers worth of weather, of clouds. That's all it does. So that needs to be fixed. It's probably not going to be fixed in X-plane 11, but they are aware of it. Right. We can tell people they can stand up. And you know what? I forgot to turn on the signs, so they already can. Flight attendants, they can do their thing. Tell people they can smoke. Why the hell not? There we go. Alright, I'm just checking pressurization here. Alright, altitude times 3. Cabin should be right now at about, let's see where we are, 14. So cabin should be at, come on, there you go. Okay, should be about 3, and it is, and we're good. Alright, so we are pressurizing, which is always important. The all-important things to check, and the reason is when somebody says, well, why are you checking that? The reason is a simple one, and it should be the first question answered in planes, fake and real. Why are we doing this? And the answer is so we don't die. Check pressurization first at 10,000. Don't check lights. Lights can't kill you. Pressurization can. Can't turn our auto brakes off. Check that we're all cleaned up. We are. Check that our landing gear is off, and it is. Check that our lights are fine, and they are. Things should have been on a long, long time ago. Right, temps are fine, passengers are comfy, we are climbing nicely, we're about to hit our transition altitude, and just zoom our map out a little bit so you can see where we are better. So we are going to turn to the north at the end of our SID here, which is notive, and we'll start the bulk of our route, which is going to go pretty fast at Enderby, get on an airway, and take that to the northwest. As you can see right now, we are above the terrain and above the weather. Plane still has a nasty habit of sudden weather transitions, even though I've got SkyMax's real weather connector, which smooths it somewhat. But it is not, as you've seen in another comparison video of mine, it's not active sky quality. It just isn't. And if you recall that video, that rant sort of came out in favor of P3D, whereas the last rant or comparison, or whatever you want to call it, in San Francisco came out, I think, in favor of X-plane, and that was the sort of test for smoothness and non-stuttering. But this is nice. The SkyMax stuff still doesn't draw clouds really nicely off into the horizon, but the Ventura script, which manages visibility, gives much more realistic visibility that changes as you go up in altitude. And so it puts a nice physics, I suppose you'd call it an event horizon, but it puts a horizon An horizon, I don't know, a horizon, on the horizon. And so it smooths the visual transitions, but it's, it's faking it a little bit, but this is a simulator. We're in the faking it business. All right, set standard altimeter, having blown through. Flight level 180. A lot of knob twiddling also in X-Plane, and it's a little bit harder in this than in T3D because it doesn't have native scroll wheel support. And when you do use the scroll wheel, they have it assigned to zoom, which is, I think, somewhat useless. Sky is done very nicely. Alright, so we're making our turn towards Enderby, which is pointing off that way. And we're going to come in on about the 010 radial, which you'll see right here come in as we make this turn and then this turn over here. So I've got the radio navigate set up to give me a little bit of extra navigational prowess in case I should want to abandon my GPS, but as you can see, we're coming in on an intercept to that radial, give or take a degree or two, and we will intercept it actually right here. You can actually see how an intercept works on a map. There's that about 35, 40 degree angle to the radial, and there it is represented here on the HSI. So there's the map, there's the HSI. It's a one-to-one correspondence almost, because there is the angle of our flight path, and there is the intercept angle right there, and you can see it's set up for an almost perfect intercept. So this needle's going to come in as we get closer to that radial. I estimated the radial from the map, so it may be off by a degree or two. And then we're going to fly direct to there. And you know what? I just realized, looking at the calendar, it's time for my monthly Big Mac. This is not a plug for McDonald's. They have not captured my soul. As a matter of fact, I barely go to McDonald's, but every 30 days, just because I satisfy a craving for one of the sandwiches of my youth, which was created in my hometown where I grew up, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, by an entrepreneurial McDonald's franchise, who, for creating the world's most popular fast food sandwich, I think got a plaque from the company. So there we are on our intercept. But every month I have 2 Big Macs, no cheese. I don't know why no cheese, but I like cheese and I like burgers. I just don't like cheeseburgers. And I have 2 Big Macs, no cheese, medium order fries, and a Coke. And that's my indulgence for the month. So I have that meal 12 times a year. Enjoy it immensely, and never feel the craving for it more than once a month. Is this good? Is it bad? Is it just plain weird? I don't know. So that's more or less where we came from, there. And now, having cleared the area, we're 1,000 feet away from our TOC, and we're ahead of schedule, as you can see. That is the arc that tells us where we're going to hit our selected altitude, and you can see it's coming right up on us. So we actually exceeded our estimated performance, and probably because I flew the first little bit manually and I climbed a little bit more exuberantly than the flight plan required, but the engines were turning in a sprightly performance, I guess you'd say. So when you got it, flaunt it, as Braniff Airlines catchphrase used to say. But that's the only flaunting I'll do. We're humbly reminded that we have a flashlight here with D-cell batteries in case all else fails. Okay, so there's Enderby, and as you can see now, we are almost on that radial. That radial will be when we turn right here at Notive. You can see we're still deflected, and there's a difference between where the station is and where we are with respect to it. So that is normal. Spin our range out a little bit, give us more perspective. And if we were craftier, we'd just request dumping the rest of this thing and going direct to somewhere around here. But, you know, what's not to enjoy? I don't think I'd like extended transoceanic flights, but, you know, certainly wouldn't mind maximizing the amount of time spent flying an airplane such as this. Although these 737s are reputedly not very ergonomic in the cockpit department, they are fairly cramped, so actually, yeah, they look to be pretty tight. Look at these headrests. Wow. This is undoubtedly the work of Jan Vogel, because he has called cockpits like this home. Loading a little weather. And in 1 second here, when we make our turn to the left, we should be almost on that radial. We're going to avoid it ever so slightly. Probably be direct would be right there. So it's the 022 radial coming in on. Let's see how we depart. Let's just see if we can slant alpha this the whole way. So we want to depart from there on the Enderby. We want to depart on the, you know, it'd be nice if these things were marked better. There we go. Alright, this is a cardinal, and that's 270. That's 250. So we want to be on about the 275 radial, I'm guessing. Departing. Okay, my entire master caution panel just lit up. Did everything break all at once? Power is fine. Gen 1 is making power. Gen 2 is making power. Pressurized properly. Yes. Our cabin temperature is fine. Our course is still set. I'm guessing now. Let's see if we got it right. I was guessing from the map about 280. Let's see how close we get. Across the station, it's going to be a little ambiguous, so we'll wait. Let this settle out. In real life, if you were doing slant alpha, you'd probably put yourself in heading mode until you got outside of the cone of confusion that's right above a VOR station. If you're directly above it, it doesn't really, it gets a little bit crazy. It's hard to believe because the lighting in X-Plane I think is rather good, but they're going to improve the lighting and the rendering and make it truer to real-world physics. Is probably the simplest way to put it. Alright, here we go. Onto our airway. Ground speed, we're going 426 lovely knots. Let's see. 293, more or less. 270, 280, 290. Degrees, so 280, yeah, we'll give it a take. All right. And we're getting a little bit, funky here, but we can't really climb above it. I don't think we can. I don't think we have the performance to do it. Well, we can go up to 370. Shall we? Now it's going to complain briefly because we haven't set a higher altitude here, but we'll set a higher altitude here. See if we can get above this weather. Can't believe we've got the performance to do this, but yeah, I don't, I'm a little pessimistic here. I don't think we've got the performance to do this. I mean, we seem to be climbing like a pig. No, I don't see this happening, and it's not happening. Can we do this? We can do it in level change mode. Not sure why LNAV mode is not taking it, because it's enunciating it right there. Alright, if we fall out of the sky here, dear viewers, it's my fault. Just trying to get our passengers a good ride. Alright, that's a little bit funky, the rendering here of haze, but it's just in the middle of drawing new clouds. To our pressurization now. And center airfield elevation. Done and done. Alright, we're still in a safe range for our pressurization, so that's good. Back in VNav, and now it seems to be happy. It's drawing entirely too many clouds, though. Alright, well, in VNav mode it does not want us to be higher, so we'll just do it in level change mode. The answer to that is I don't know. There it is set here. There it is set there. Should just do it. And it should do it at a fairly standard rate, but doesn't seem to do it. Alright. And since we're a ways away from top descent, now would be a good time to give you guys a break. So I'll give you guys a break as we hit our top of climb. Let me just level us out. Make sure it does that. Looks like it's done it. Get us back in VNav mode. Let it take care of things. Its own whim, apparently. So, see you at top of descent. Well, that pretty much looks like a shot out of Boeing's publicity operation in the early 80s. Got a little CP air going. Beautiful chase plane working stuff here. Got a little bit of a stutter as we move our point of view through the weather. And we're about 65 miles from top of descent. And at the moment we're over some pretty low terrain, but it's going to get pretty rocky pretty soon. Apologies for little stutters here, but I'm rendering a lot of weather here, and it seems the way SkyMax works is if you render out whatever field of view you're pointing at, so you can see some of the clouds popping in and out in places there as we turn through this. So it's attempting to build weather, but it's uncertain as to where we're looking. So I'm guessing that's what it is, but can't be certain. I've set our landing altitude. This is going to be our approach, by the way. There's no star into here, but it's going to be a RNAV approach. This is our initial approach fix, and we'll fly up to it, basically turn into it. And from there on out, it leads us through the river valley Again, the runway alignment is not perfectly aligned to this river valley, otherwise it would be a simpler approach, but it's going to bring us right to the edge of the terrain and then drop us on down. And let's turn our seatbelt signs on. Tell flight attendants to stop their cabin service. There's our top descent. I've set a floor for it right now, which is the approximate altitude I want to be at Aludi. And what I'll do is I'll move it down to 2,200 feet shortly. You notice this says LPV. We're not technically equipped to do LPV. We're going to do an RNAV, VNAV, LNAV, VNAV approach, and we're going to basically fake this and just obey the step-down altitudes and do it that way. But technically, we're not technically equipped to fly this. So this is not technically legal. So don't try this at home, kids. On your real 737, when you go flying through the real Canadian Rockies, don't do it. Think twice. Think about your future. Get off the babysitter, Benjamin. No. Alright. I hated that movie. I don't know why I'm talking about that. I hate Tom Cruise. Is it okay to say that? Yeah, I'm sure it's okay to say that. My God, if it's not okay to say you hate Tom Cruise, then what is the world coming to? He has a punchable face. What can I say? It's a horrible thing to say about another human being. But he's got a punchable face. And he's in a moronic cult. Which, as his American, is his absolute right. Just don't call him stupid. That's the problem. Everybody has an absolute right to do all sorts of stupid things, but you go and call somebody stupid for what they do, and look out, Loretta. So I'm not going to call him stupid. Inalienable right to do stupid things. But heaven forbid, call an American stupid. I assume, being like all people, we do probably 3 stupid things a day at least. I know I do. Like Otto and Fish from Wanda, everybody gets upset if you call them stupid. I think if you do objectively stupid things, that makes you stupid. But that's just me. I don't think everybody should get a trophy just for showing up. Although I do think that being non-stupid is not trivially easy, so I'll grant humanity that we find it tough not to be idiotic. And I'm not even talking about petty and vindictive and all the other nasty qualities we have. I'm just talking about plain old stupidity. We have a tough time with that. Part of it is due to what's called the Dunning-Kruger effect, and that is basically you don't know what you don't know. And the less you know about something, generally, the more confident you tend to be that you do. Because think about it. If you were a screw-up, and you knew you were a screw-up, you'd try and fix it. But thank you, Dunning-Kruger effect. It means that if you're a screw-up, you tend to think that you're doing just fine. Because otherwise you couldn't really live with yourself. So, excessive confidence in, here, let's just look it up exactly. Just see where we are before we do something stupid. Alright, 21 miles. We got about 18 and a half seconds here to look up Dunning-Kruger effect. Okay, Dunning-Kruger. Here is a cognitive bias in which low-ability individuals suffer from illusory superiority, mistakenly assessing their ability as much higher than it really is. Dunning and Kruger attribute this bias to a metacognitive inability of those of low ability to recognize their ineptitude and evaluate their ability accurately. Their research also suggests corollaries. High ability individuals may underestimate their relative confidence, may erroneously assume the tasks which are easy for them are also easy for others, yada, 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 yada. Interesting. Okay. Dumbasses don't know they're dumbasses. They think they're geniuses. That bodes well. Where have I seen that happening? Where have I seen people who talk about military affairs and say that they would be smarter than all the generals out there? I don't know. Certainly not in the Canadian Rockies, which is where we're going. And when you see Smithers on the ground, you will see why. It looks like the ultimate place to go salmon fishing, but maybe I'm wrong. It certainly looks like the ultimate place to do any kind of fishing. And certainly looks pretty damn good for hiking and climbing, too. Alright, coming up on TOD. The top of the drops. Get our weather for Smithers. Get rid of the Dunning-Kruger effect here. I don't really want to read the Atlantic Monthly, although there's nothing wrong with it. Here we go. The weather here is lousy. Overcast at 5,500, broken at 3,000. Alright, 2,932. That seems a little nasty, especially since it's 1,700 feet up. Set that in our standby so we remember it. A lot of knob twiddling. Full 1,000 feet in altitude differential. Wow. Okay. Bring our range in a little bit so we can see what we're doing. Check our legs. Alright, here we come. There's our vertical profile. There's our throttles retarding. And down we go. 23 miles to get down 11,000 feet. I don't think we're going to do it. It's going to ask for drag, almost certainly. We're above the target. You know what? I'm going to preemptively give it drag. Speed brakes are more effective if you use them early in the descent. If you have to rely on them late in the descent, then you can easily get screwed. Alright, we're coming back on profile, and you can see the terrain is starting to pop up because there it is. Let's check our winds. Alright, they're still favorable, coming almost right down the runway. And that Ventura Sky add-on does nice things with the haze. That looks real. That looks good. Maybe a little abrupt, the transition, but that's pretty good. Okay. Our throttles are still retarded and armed. That's good. And we're going down at one hell of a clip. We're now 13 from our 26,000 constraint. And we are 5,000 away. And our ground speed is 414, and we're going down to 2,500. So we're going down more than the 3-degree drop, as you can see. Well, it's hard to see because there's no good horizon. We are on profile, and we're just riding those speed brakes all the way down. Ooh, that looks good. And this isn't even an incredibly strikingly rendered airplane. The rendering is pretty damn good. But it's not like rotate sim level quality on their MD-80. On the other hand, this flies, I think, better than their MD-80, but that was pretty damn good.
300. 200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 1,000. 1,000. 1,000. 500, 400, 300, 200, 100, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10,